Alright, this past weekend, my buddy and I sat down to watch a few movies and just kind of BS. Our final movie of the night ended up being the American Society of Magical Negros, and it was admittedly simply so we could laugh at this poorly received film. I mean, the trailer doesn't do it any favors, and it had an abysmal box office grossing only $2.5 million. We thought this would be low-hanging fruit for us to sit in the garage and have a cigar, give it our best Cape Fear, if one will, all while barely paying attention to what we assumed would be a movie about how violent and evil white people are, while extolling the virtues of said magical Negros. While the first 20 minutes of the movie are pretty much David Alan Grier saying how terrifying and unstable white people are, and how is their job as magical Negros to prevent acts of white horrificness by monitoring white discomfort, the rest of the movie is essentially hitch. But I'm not here to discuss the plot, nor the acting, nor the dialogue, or even review the movie as a whole, because something sort of interesting happened after the movie was over. My buddy and I sat down and we discussed how there might have actually been a good point buried under a mountain of bad. I know, stick with me. The American Society of Magical Negros has like a press gang cult-like mentality, and I don't mean the movie. I mean the society that the movie depicts as virtuous and noble in the beginning. Our main character, Justice Smith, is essentially conscripted into the Magical Negro Corps by David Alan Grier and is expected to immediately get it and step in line. He's told that being a magical Negro means monitoring and diffusing white discomfort, and doing so is, quote, saving the world, or even saving the goddamn world. I can't remember what he says.
We saving the damn world.
The movie makes mention of several real-world events, especially George Floyd, in an attempt to underpin the severity of their mission, and therefore the importance of their existence. They then show Justice Smith memories of past examples of how magical Negros have aided white people, including one that's just a ripoff of the Green Mile, which is kind of bonkers example to use when trying to underpin how important being a magical Negro is. Justice Smith is not immediately sold on this concept, but nonetheless, he does relent and join the American Society of Magical Negros after going on a magical mystery tour with David Alan Grier to help a white cop get into either it's like an all-black or mostly black club. The details are vague at best to me, and to be honest, I don't really care that much. This dazzling display of Black Grier magic is probably the most cringe-inducing part of the movie because it's so heavy-handed, and Grier is really pushing hard to get this young man into the society. He plays on Justice Smith being too meek to stand up for himself, by like browbeating him into agreeing to join him in the society. It's wild and kind of like a bit evil too. Now, I say it's evil because it's very soon revealed that the source of the Society of Magical Negros power comes from everyone, every single last one of them.
If any member uses magic fails to put their client first, all our powers fail, and we cannot fail.
All sticking to the mission, which is essentially to erase your sense of self and only aid white people in feeling less uncomfortable no matter the costs. The American Society of Magical Negros shows this multiple times. Justice Smith falls in love with, your guess is as good as mine ethnicity girl, Lizzie, and because the white man he is assigned to has feelings for her, he's essentially forbidden from pursuing her on his own terms and being his own man. That's right. To save the world, magical Negros must serve. There's even a scene where one magical Negro lady is called out for not supporting her white person, and Nicole Byers drums her out of the society for jeopardizing all of their powers. We'll later learn that the banishment entails a mind-erasing spell, which is kind of dumb because people in the real world will still know she existed in some capacity in her previous role, magical or not, and being forced to live as a regular black person in America.
The most severe sentence. You will be forced to live in America as a regular black person.
Yeah, you heard me correct. The worst thing that can happen to a magical Negro is being forced to live as a regular person. I don't even understand the mentality behind such a message in a movie. Unless you're subservient to white people, you will just be a regular black person. Being your own person sounds infinitely better than being some kind of broken puppet person. And this job does break people. David Alan Grier has a whole scene where he's explaining to Justice that he was in a similar situation once and how much it hurt him to let his lady love go, but how noble a sacrifice it was. It's kind of a serious scene, and it feels like it came from a much different script, if I'm being honest. After he tells Justice his tale of love lost, he again impresses upon him the importance of giving up your desires, your ambitions, your dreams, for the greater good of boosting white egos. Justice doesn't really take too well to this idea that his whole existence now must conform with the guidelines of being a magical Negro, and he wrestles a lot with his desire to have his own voice and be his own man. This comes to a head in a rather cringe-inducing scene at the end of the movie where Justice has had enough. He was just told that he was part of the presentation because it's about diversity, and he talks to the white guy about how messed up it is that he's only there because of the color of his skin, despite knowing he joined an organization called the American Society of Magical Negroes. I mean, he must have assumed skin color played a factor. But the big takeaway of his big blowout on stage is that he's his own person, and he has finally found value in being himself, and he wants to pursue the things in life that validate his existence. The white guy goes, "I didn't know." Justice goes, "Neither did I." And this is significant because it is the first conversation / argument / any interaction between the two men that is not from the forced unity of the magical Negro Corps. It is not the best written rant ever, but it got the point across that he finally gets what makes him an individual. However, being an individual is antithetical to being a magical Negro, as has been established, and he is called before Nicole Byers to be chastised and kicked out of the society. David Allen Greer cannot erase his memories for some reasons, I guess, so he goes off into the world as a regular black guy, yet knowing there is still like a hive mind gang of magical Negroes out there. I am not 100% sure the point of the movie wasn't to say that it is far better to be an individual than to be considered one of a group. The American Society of Magical Negroes are more concerned about power and status quo than actually changing anything, despite the constant messaging from Greer. Anytime someone tries to be an individual or go against their organization, they are immediately drummed out and essentially erased. These are the actions of villains in movies, not heroes. 100% compliance in thought, in speech, in deeds, or you are out on your own where magic cannot protect you. So in exchange for your individuality, we will provide you a soul-crushing existence of servitude and perceived safety, all the while making your world burn around you. I truly believe that the American Society of Magical Negroes did intend to make a point about how these old organizations, these antiquated ways of thinking, keep people down, keep them controlled, and cost the individual everything. I can only imagine this movie had way too many cooks in the kitchen, which is a shame, because underneath all the cheap racial shots, lame Hitch remake movie, rom-com plots, there could have been a pretty significant film about the importance of not just going along with the group, but standing as an individual. Thanks for tuning in, but I have to run. I'm being inducted into the American Society of Smug White Assholes in 10 minutes. Till next time.